Oh, wow. That
Oh,
added them.
it did add them. Good. That's what
Yes.
we were trying to do, guys. Welcome.
And
That's
Thank
what we
then,
you.
wanted to do.
listen, we
Hi,
was
hi,
over here
hi.
trying to
Oh,
figure it out.
We wanted to let y'all in before we let them in, and it wouldn't let us. And then, boom, here we are. So,
hold on. Let me change my background.
Y'all look beautiful.
y'all do look beautiful.
Thank
Everybody's in their
you.
blue.
Okay, Kathy got this hair flowing. Girl, where you going?
Can you guys hear
Ooh,
To
not
me?
this
the
meeting. To this meeting.
curl. Yes, Jennifer, we can hear you. Just can't see you.
I don't know why my video is not working. The camera's on.
Is it
Hmm.
uncovered? Did you
Yes.
unplug it and plug it back in? Are you using a
Yes.
laptop?
Whoop,
There you go.
There
We
bingo.
you
see
go.
you.
There you
We
go.
see you.
Is my background correct?
Yes.
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 Okay.
I
But we need
know.
to take
Teams does
travel
that.
off of there. Take that travel off of there. You have
Yeah,
retired.
I'll fix that. Y'all never tell me when that kind of
Hold
stuff happens.
on.
So, but
I
I'll
gotta.
update it.
Okay.
Well, I think mine should be accounting manager, not national account manager,
I
Yes.
but
think you're right about that.
it's never what it needs to be, I don't think.
Honey, I
So
have written your name, scribbled your name, written your name, scribbled your name, whited out your name on all of my lists so
let
many
me left
times.
me out for pictures.
Okay, guys, it's 2 o'clock.
Yeah, let's let him in.
Sent an email. Look for the three little dots on your screen. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I sent an email and asked for a refund, but
Hi, everyone. Welcome in the room. We're getting started here. Going to give everybody a few more minutes to join us. Welcome, welcome. We're just letting everybody get into the room here, and we will start in a moment. Welcome, Nellie. I see that was successful.
Yes, thank you, Carly.
Okay, great.
Timothy, nice to see a face and put it to a name. Kiana, same. I feel like we haven't worked together. We've just seen each other in emails.
There
Elaine,
she
how
Okay.
are you?
Good, good. Thank you.
Absolutely. Welcome to the call. It's great to see faces. Hopefully, everyone that's not showing their face will eventually show a face. So the next time we connect, we'll know exactly who we all are.
Yes. If Miss Charlie Carter was on this call, she would say, "Get those cameras on."
Yes, indeed.
Okay, we've got a couple more in the lobby. I'm going to let them in, and then we can get rolling because I've got 2:02 on my clock. Um, okay. Welcome to our third Carver Town Hall. This is going to be focused on accounting procedures, reminders, travel policies and procedures, with a few general guidelines and tips on your profile updates and guidelines there. Um, I am Carly Alford. You've probably heard from me or seen me out on the World Wide Web. I run all of our social media and marketing at Carver, and events like this are typically in my wheelhouse, so I'm here to host. Um, and I'm also the person you would reach out to if you have ideas for content or you also are interested in helping us with a little influence marketing. So if that's something that appeals to you and you have professional um, facing platforms, then let me know. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to who wants to take the reins. Rhea, you want to start and introduce yourself, and then y'all can go on my screen. Rhea's next. So whoever wants to pick up after Rhea, introduce yourselves.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Ria. I am in charge of all your consultant payments along with Jennifer. So anytime you guys are emailing the AP box, that is me and Jennifer. I've been with the company for 9 years now. And so I know the ins and outs of the portal. So anytime you have any trouble or questions, reach out to me and I'm always happy to help.
All right, let's go to Jennifer since you mentioned Jennifer.
Hi guys, I am Jennifer Ramsey in accounting. There is a Jennifer Goodwill in business development. So you guys, when you're emailing, make sure you're emailing Ramsey if you need me. But I handle consultant payments along with Ria, as well as inter-service invoices here, and check on all the company credit cards here, etc. And I am also the one that the clients will reach out to if they need certificates of insurance, etc. I've been with Carver literally 3 years and a couple of weeks. And prior to this, I also am still in insurance. I've been in insurance for 10 years. And prior to this, I was also payroll and things for a $28 million store. So you guys, welcome, welcome.
All right, let's go to Kathy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kathy Bordelon. If you don't know that name, I have been with the company for March will be 11 years, so almost 11 years, and started working remotely for the company. And then I am part-time. Moved to Atlanta, lived in Atlanta for 6 years. I have moved all around. I started out doing travel, American Express, consultant profiles when they were done in Word by hand, where I typed every one of them. We've come a long way in 11 years, let's put it that way. I've worked in business development. I still help out over there, and I'm in accounting full time. I do a lot of collections. I put in all of the billable weeks. That's how that we know if you are supposed to be paid. So if you ever can't put your invoice in, it's something wrong with the billable week. So that's on my end. So that's pretty much it. I think most of you here know who I am. I think I've talked to probably everyone on this screen. So there you go.
All right, and that lastly leaves Nishi.
Hi, everyone. Um, my name is Mishi Carter. I handle travel. I work closely with the account managers to get you guys to and from your assignments. I also dibble and dabble in accounting. So any questions that you have regarding your pay, I can answer. If not, I will shoot you over to Ria or Jennifer. But for the most part, I can answer any consultant pay questions and whatever else you need. I'm pretty much the go-to for a lot of things. So, yes.
Yes.
Hi.
And I said lastly, but I didn't mean it. Sorry about that, group
It's
in
okay.
Atlanta. Nellie and Darnell, if you can take it away.
Sure. Well, so I'm Nellie. I'm the director of task force. So my team and I, you've met most of the team or you've spoken with someone on the team. So I'm just basically here for support and any questions that you may have in the call. Again, I'm excited to see so many faces. Most of the time, I see a profile with a picture, so now I get to meet you if we haven't already met on a call. I know Jamil turned off our camera, but she recently got married. Congratulations, lady. And it's just wonderful to see all your faces. So really that's why I'm here. And then of course I will let Darnell introduce himself.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Darnell Long. I'm the corporate controller here at Carver. Um, Bottom line is I'm a nerd. I'm an accountant. So I just want to make sure the numbers match and everything's good. Y'all get paid and y'all get to and from your destinations just fine. If for any reason anything is not great in your experience from the accounting team, please let me know. We definitely believe in high customer service, so won't leave you kind of with you're in hospitality. We won't leave you with a wow experience, even being hospitality people. So you know what to expect. And so just let us know. You got the CHG and the AP email addresses. So if there's anything we can do, you can hit us there and we'll get right back to you.
Nellie, will you do us a favor, or whoever, maybe Mishi, will you type those email addresses into the chat box just in case
I
anyone
got you.
doesn't have those? Yeah, just so they can refer back to that. Okay, now that all the Carver folks are introduced, I have some questions that have been submitted beforehand, but I want to open the floor to anybody who wants to ask a question now. Like, let's kick off. Is there anybody who's starting like with a burning question about accounting, travel, um, payments, things like that? Okay, so then we'll get back in our schedule. Just wanted to give you that option because I know you're busy people and some people might have to jump on and jump off. Okay, so we're going to start with a little bit of invoice and expense submission. So what happens if an invoice is submitted late? Let's talk about that. Is there a grace period? What happens if there's a late invoice? Someone from accounting want to take that?
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, so Monday at midnight, your invoice is due. Not necessarily the expense report, because I know that a lot of clients or your property point of contact is out on Monday. So if you can get your expense report submitted for approval on Monday and then go ahead and submit your invoice, it won't be late. But after Monday at midnight, it is considered late. So come Tuesday, I'm sure most of you have already seen the late submission email. So within that email is a link to let you know that your invoice is late. And then you have two options. Within that link, it'll let you know to fill out the late submission form. So there is a $25 late submission fee that will deduct from your pay if you wish to be paid on Friday. Otherwise, the other option is to wait next Friday, and there is no fee. But there is not really a grace period. So Monday at midnight is when your invoice is due. And then for any reason, say that you're traveling that day or have a family emergency, whatever it is, give someone a call from accounting and we can, help you submit your invoice if for some reason you lost your phone or you can't get to a computer. Always call someone and we're always here to help you get your invoice submitted. We can always open the expense report for you to do at another date, but again, all of your expense report needs to be done within 30 days. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Ria. There's a question in the chat box. When will the 1099s be available online?
So the 1099s were completed through our accounting system last Monday. So anything that was done at that time, generally speaking, if the email was in the system, then you would get a link. We use QuickBooks, so you would get a link or would have gotten a link from QuickBooks. It's a one time. It used to be a one time only link from the past. I'm not sure if that was the same thing this year with QuickBooks because of all the upgrades they've been doing. But You would get the link and it will be available. We get a download. I have a download report that will actually show if it was emailed or just mailed to the address that we have on file. So I can actually look that up if anybody is interested. But yeah, they were done officially the 25th. I want to say 25th.
Perfect. And
I
Mishi
also,
added in the chat box. Go ahead.
mm-hmm. No, I was gonna say I also put my email in the chat box if you need further assistance. We could take care of that for you if you don't have the link.
And
Perfect.
also that email may not say QuickBooks, it may say Intuit.
Into it.
Most of their emails say Intuit, and sometimes they say QuickBooks. So check your spam. That you should have gotten that email last week.
Perfect. Can invoices be corrected after submission if there are errors found? Who wants
I'll
to take
take
that
it.
one?
I'll
Okay.
take it. Yes, invoices can be corrected after submission if there are errors found. If you guys realize that you didn't submit an extra receipt that you needed to submit, etc., you can always let somebody in accounting know. You're welcome to email the box or give us a call. We can always reopen the portal for you to go back in there and do that as long as we are before the submission deadlines, etc. The only caveat is that if you are changing dollar amounts, you will have to have it approved again by the approver at the hotel level because now what they approved previously has changed. So if you forgot a transportation receipt, you forgot a luggage receipt, a meal receipt, something like that, we can always do that. You just have to let us know. Doesn't take long.
So communication is key. Okay, how do consultants handle disputes over reimbursable expenses? Like if they need clarity on something that might or might not be reimbursed, or if, who do they bring that complaint to?
So we have a list of eligible items. We have an email that we usually do send out. You guys can also look, I believe in the welcome email that Mishi sends. Mishi, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you guys have a link for that, if I'm not mistaken. But we also can send you that if you guys just need a refresher on it, to know what's eligible, what's not eligible. Basically, for the most part, you have to remember personal items are not eligible. Alcohol is not eligible. And then the other thing is with rides, you must show the pickup and drop off locations for rideshare receipts and/or if you're turning in mileage, like from your home to the airport, etc., you would need to do that as well. Simple Google Maps, Waze, whatever choice app you use, just punch in the two addresses, see the mileage, enter it, and submit that screenshot for the backup so that it shows your two addresses and the mileage going between.
So I have a question. I have
Go
a
ahead.
question about the mileage. So if you're on an assignment and you didn't take your vehicle, are you allowed to use an Uber or a Lyft and get reimbursed for that while you're in the town, or is that just from the airport to the property?
All the ride share receipts and mileage is only reimbursable for rides or mileage to or from airport, hotel property, and your home. That's it.
Okay,
So
got it.
anything that you do around town, if you're just going to dinner or anything like that, that is not a reimbursable expense. But getting you to and from the property and to and from your home, that is.
I
And
do want to,
I
I'm
wanted
sorry.
to I wanted to mention, if you don't mind, real quickly too, because this came up last week. Whenever you are going on an assignment and the business development manager sends you your consultant assignment agreement, always read that, because sometimes you are not allowed meals or a meal per diem. All of your meals may be on property, and that will be noted on
Mhm.
that assignment agreement, because I had someone that was only it was allowed meals on property. So, please make sure when you are sent that agreement, read it so you know what you are allowed, if you are allowed meals, a meal per diem or not. So you can ask about it before you go. So I wanted to mention that to everyone.
On the subject of rides, what about tips
Yes.
for rides? Are those reimbursed?
Yes, they are. Now be mindful of when you're tipping, because in the past, we've had consultants tip 50% of that ride. So standard usually is about 20%. If you do plan on over tipping, do that separately because you're basically charging the client for that and they may not be aware of how much you're tipping. So standard is 20%. So rides um, and meal tippage are reimbursable. The only ones is housekeeping or bellman service. And then I did want to piggyback off of Timothy's question regarding ground transportation. So I know that Jennifer mentioned to and from the airport, which yes, that is reimbursed. In some cases, the consultant may have to be housed off property because of, the hotel being sold out. So the ground transportation from hotel to hotel is reimbursed. It just has to be in writing from the client to your business development team member that they've arranged that this is okay.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Ria.
Mhm.
Also,
Okay.
on a piggyback note for Kathy, with making sure you read your contracts, you guys, if we send you an email, it's not by mistake. Please read it because they have the important details, more specifically, usually when we are going to have to submit things to the bank early for processing due to holidays. We've had, several instances where people didn't check the email or they thought it was just, something usual coming out, a normal reminder to turn in their invoice. But it was actually stating that we needed it to be submitted a day early because we are on a different banking deadline to make sure that you still get paid on that Friday. So please make sure you read all of those emails. If you have questions or concerns, give us a call or shoot us an email back. We'll be happy to assist you with it. But definitely make sure that you read them thoroughly because they will give you all the dates and times that you will need.
Excellent. Okay, if a consultant forgets to keep a receipt, is there an alternative way to verify that expense?
Okay,
Or
I'm
are
going to
they
take
just up
this
the
one.
creek?
I was going to say, I'm going to take this one. So if it is a restaurant or a store, and you can tell them the last four digits of the card used and the date that you were in there, you usually can call the restaurant and ask them to print another copy. Same with the store. You can ask them to do a receipt reprint. We've had to do this or ask consultants to do it for itemized receipts. If you guys accidentally submit the receipt where you just signed for the tip and didn't itemize, you can always call back and try to get that. Otherwise, if it's not something that you can call back and get a reprint for, there's really not a way for us to verify it. The only way at that point might be if you had something, let's just say luggage, for instance, if you have something showing that you can do a screenshot showing that $35 for Delta came out on, the 4th, and you can show us that coming out of your chosen card or whatever payment method you used, we may be able to use that in its place. But we really do need the actual receipt showing the date of purchase, the total dollar amount, the method of payment, etc.
Perfect. Okay, what are some let's go 2 routes here. Let's talk about common mistakes you guys see on on these items, and then let's also talk about best practices. Like I know you send all this information out in email, but it's helpful to hear it from your mouths and you see it every day. So let's talk a little bit about common mistakes to avoid and best practices to use.
Now,
Yeah, so
Carly, so sorry, Carly. Before we get into that, I had a couple of questions for Ria and or Jennifer to just verify for the team because I've seen this happen. When we have multiple consultants on property, how does it work when they have to submit a split receipt because two people ate at one dinner table and now they have to submit this invoice in or expense report
Good
or
question.
expense?
Yeah, so if there's two people on property and say that, I bought Carly lunch, um, we try and say no because it is hard to track. Because we don't know if Carly paid me for her lunch. So I would say if you are going to purchase two meals for you and your coworker, just do it separately. It's just hard to track and to know, if that person paid that other consultant.
Perfect, thank you. And my second question is, can you also clarify for the team, because I've heard this question before, when we talk about expenses and we talk about submitting an invoice, what does that mean? Do I submit it at the same time? Can I submit my invoice without my expenses? Can you please clarify for the team how they would process that just in case they have expenses that are being delayed?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So within the portal, you do have two options. When you've already submitted your expense report for approval, yes, you can go ahead and submit your invoice now while you wait for your expense. That way, your invoice is not delayed. Because again, a lot of these point of contacts are not off, or I'm sorry, they're not working the day that you submit your expense report. So it may be a delayed in approval. So always, I recommend submitting your invoice now while you wait for approval. That way you know that your invoice is not delayed. And then once that approval is received for your expense, we can always add it. We can add it on Tuesday when it's been approved.
Perfect, thank you, Ria.
Mhm.
Okay, so best practices and common mistakes. Kathy, you want to take one of those?
Well, I just saw a thing come through from Lisa Marie really quickly. How does
Oh,
it work
yeah,
with the
sure.
auto submit process? It actually works the same way. If you do auto submit, that makes sure your invoice is getting submitted, even if your expenses are not approved. So it's best, an auto submit is actually marked for everyone, but sometimes you have to go ahead and click submit. It's always best to submit without the expenses approved because that will happen eventually. So I wanted to go ahead and jump on that one when I saw it pop up. Sometimes we miss them. So let's see, common mistakes that lead to expense rejections. Ooh, personal items, vitamins, Tylenol, band-aids, a soap that you like. A lot of times people will add those in, go to the store, they pick up everything, and then they didn't subtract it out. And that is not approved. That is a personal item. If you are allowed a per diem, it is only for meals and non-alcoholic beverages. That is it, snacks, not medicines. Now, I will, just in case someone else does it, we actually have a couple of consultants who have to eat certain and they order their meals to like prepare pre-made meals that they just heat up or something and for their diet, and they do expense those because they're a part of their meal, and so they will just submit a receipt for how much those meals cost per day. So as long as they stay within the per diem. So that's one thing is the personal items. Alcohol. If we can't tell you not to drink. I mean, we ask that you do not drink on property, but if you're out to dinner and you're going to have a cocktail, pay for it separate. don't pay for it with your meal because alcohol has a different tax amount. It's really a pain when you have to deduct the alcohol from a receipt. So pay for it separately. Do two separate checks. And it's easy to do that. Um, so am I forgetting something, Ria?
Yeah, on another one. So if you purchase groceries, and you have personal items, so like candles, like Kathy said, pain medication or whatever, cross it out on the receipt and then write the new total on the bottom. Because when it gets to the client, they don't do the calculations sometimes, and they'll reject your full expense report, not realizing, oh, Kathy's already deducted this amount. So if it's a different amount that you're expensing on that receipt, just write what the new total is and then just cross out whatever you're deducting.
I would just say, for my 2 cents, I would recommend to just always ring up everything, like your personal items, everything, just keep it separate, because that'll just help with the taxes and your total, so you don't have to cross out. Because sometimes consultants will forget to cross something out. So, it's just better to bring everything up separately from what you get reimbursed for, just to keep it a clean slate. That was just my 2 cents.
And I see Elaine put, how do we expense groceries for meals if I want to have yogurt or fruit, etc. in my room? Can I submit the grocery store receipts? If you are allowed or per diem instead of eating on property, yes, you can purchase fruit and yogurt as long as you do not go over your daily per diem or your weekly per diem. Um, say the big number has always been $43 per day. It's gone up in some places, and we probably need to go back and reinvestigate that. But that was based years ago off of the government per diem for lunch and dinner in pretty much all over the United States. And so that's where we come up with that. And for 7 days a week, and I remember this very well, it comes to 301 per week. And if one person eats over 301 per week in groceries, then I don't know how they say skinny because I just don't think I could do it. But anyway, so I thought I'd throw that out there. So yes, if you are allowed per diem, you may purchase groceries as long as you don't go over, and you don't have to do it daily. As long as if you're there for a week, 3 weeks, whatever, as long as you stay within that weekly per diem. You may spend $50 on groceries one day and then $10 the next day or something. So as long as it doesn't go over that weekly amount.
And to piggyback on that, just be careful with your weekly amount because although most of our clients don't give us pushback if people don't stick strictly to the $43 per day, they will allow it as long as you're within the weekly. You have to be mindful of how many days you are there for that week. So if you started and your first, let's say you're on an assignment for 3.4 weeks, that's 3 weeks and 2 days. So you really only have, like, if you started on a Thursday, you've got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of that week. They expect you to have to eat on the weekend. So, you just have to be mindful that you don't have $43 times your 7 days like you normally do. You have 43 times the 4 days that you're going to actually be there. That's really most of the time. The only time we see pushback from clients is if you are there for a partial week. You didn't get there till Friday, but somehow you spent, $150 on dinner, or something like that. So just be mindful that you have a per diem, and usually most of the clients don't care if you're $46 today and $32 the day before, et cetera, as long as you don't go over that total 301 or that total weekly amount. But just be mindful of how many days you're on property that week.
And Another thing, if you are traveling and you are not allowed a per diem, you are allowed to eat on travel days. You just submit your receipt for your food when you're traveling under other or miscellaneous. I never can remember what it's called. It used to be miscellaneous. I think it's other now. But that's where you submit your food receipts on your travel days because you are allowed to eat on travel days. So, especially if you're traveling 8, 9 hours, sometimes people are, if you're going from one side of the United States to the other. So, east to west, west to east, that type of thing. So,
Kathy,
um,
does that travel amount cap, or is it just I can just buy lobster at the airport?
it is not capped because and it has never been capped, and that the reason is because it's so expensive to eat in the airports. So, I mean, that doesn't mean go have a steak dinner in the airport while you wait, but I do know it is not, food in the airport for some reason is like 3 times the price it is anywhere else. And I've never understood that. It can be the same restaurant, but no, it is not capped because they are allowed a meal when they're traveling if they're, so yes.
That also may be, again, that may be something that fluctuates because let's just say you're in the airport and you're supposed to be there for a 4-hour delay on a flight or a 4-hour layover on a flight, and for some reason there's a weather delay. They don't expect you to go 10 hours without eating. Nobody expects you to do that. So, of course, that's going to have to be adjustable depending on your travel time. So, yes, you don't want to eat a steak, go to the airport and eat a steak on purpose necessarily, but also depending on how long you're stuck there, you may have to eat 1 or 2 meals. You may have to, eat a bigger meal, depending on what happens. So just know that that is something that, needs to be taken into consideration and of course would probably be a case by case.
And it is, and it's actually in the client contract that meals on travel days are allowed, and there is no cap on it. So it is in the client contracts. Next question, Miss Carly.
Okay. Any best practices that you guys um, would advise, like just after 1, 2, 3, 11 years? Anything that like, is it helpful to keep a folder? Is it helpful to keep um, you know, a separate wallet or what?
Mhm.
What do you guys?
Yeah, as far as your receipts, I recommend keeping a folder with those receipts for up to 30 days. That way, if for some reason the client comes back and they can't read a receipt or they had more questions about it, we can contact you and refer back to that receipt and you can resubmit a better picture. So, just saving your receipts for up to 30 days.
And of course, best practice would also be to try to go in and upload daily. Go in and put in your dollar amount, upload your receipts daily, if at all possible, just so that when you get to that end of the week and you're getting close to that deadline, you can just automatically go in, just quick glance, make sure everything's correct, and hit submit. That way you're guaranteed to get your invoice in, there won't be a delay, and then anything else we can deal with afterwards.
And as soon as you get a receipt, especially if you're in a restaurant, lay it on the table, take a picture of it. Make sure you get a picture from the very top with the restaurant name to the very bottom that is not cut off anywhere. Keep a picture, keep a folder on your phone. I mean, we all have an iPhone or a smartphone or something. So, have a folder with, and you could date, make folders for every week or whatever. Save this. That way you have everything. So
And
I
just keep
think
in mind, we
that's
do have to have itemized receipts for everything. So just keep that in mind. If you have to take 2 screenshots, take it. If it takes you 4 to get a grocery order in, take it. It's better to have more info and us not need it than to have less and us have to go back and forth trying to get you at the last minute to get those extra receipts before we can approve.
And best
And
practices. So I'm sorry. Best practices is if in doubt, call us. We would rather answer your question than have to go back and reject something. I always, when I travel, I try to keep an envelope to put all of my receipts in my laptop bag. That way, if I don't have time to snap a picture, I stick it in an envelope and have it in my laptop bag. So that's the best thing. That's one of the best practices. Always be professional. Another best practice, and I've heard this for 11 years from Miss Charlie Carter. It doesn't matter if you're walking through the airport, walking into the property for the first time, always be dressed professionally, always look nice, smile. Smile. I mean, a smile goes a long way. And I didn't realize it until a long time ago. You can hear when someone is smiling and you're talking to them on the phone. Did you know that? You can. And I did not realize it until Charlie used to say it. She'd say, "What's wrong with you?" And she wasn't even looking at me. And I'm like, nothing. And she said, "Well, you're not smiling." And she knew it. She could hear it in my voice. So, and my, it's a good practice. That's one of the best practices. But always, when you walk on that property, make sure you're dressed professionally. I realize you're traveling, but try to look your best, even though you're traveling when you walk on the property, because that first impression is going to stay if that client wants you at their property or not. So, if you
Good
walk
point.
in tattered jeans and, or in your pajamas and your house slippers, they're not going to want you. They're going to call us and say, "Find me someone else." So, just always, that's a best practice. So I'll hush. I think Michi had something to say.
Yeah, let's talk about a little bit about travel since we're on the subject of traveling in our nice professional attire. Mishi, give us some travel info.
before we get to the travel, um, another best practice we could do is to always try to submit your invoice and expenses Saturday night, because that'll give your approver enough time to approve everything by Monday. So that's a best practice I would suggest, because our weeks go from Sunday to Saturday anyway. So just want to throw that out there. As far as travel, just a few reminders. Um, Carver, fly you to and from your home base. Um, and I get some consultants have like more than one, but we have to have a stable address to fly you to and from. I just wanted to throw that out there, like as a reminder. We already touched based on the ground transportation, so we're pretty much clear on that. But I really just wanted to just give a reminder, because I've been having a lot of people that's trying to go elsewhere, and Carver is not. I'm not a travel agent. Let's just put it like that. We only fly you to and from your home base that is on file on your profile. But of course, everything, as long as you communicate to me what was needed or whatever, we could work it out. But just FYI, we fly you to and from your home base, where you flew from and where you go back to. That's my little 2 cents from my world.
Perfect. So, what about? I wanted to ask this question. What about? Do they get to use their own frequent flyer points and loyalty programs when they
Yes.
travel with us?
Yes, so every time I book travel, I always ask about their reward airline loyalty number as well as TSA, because even when they fill out their onboarding paperwork, sometimes that stuff doesn't transpire over. So I always verify before, I'm booking travel. Now, speaking of airlines, I know that everyone have a preference, but I try my best to work with you guys. But if I don't have that airline available, I can't. I can't fly you myself. So I try to work with you as best as I can and give you the best that I have on my end. I do want to let you know flights that you look up on Google are not the same, are not going to be the same that I see in on my booking site. I just want to be clear. Because our system is set to a certain standard and to certain budgets, so not all flights are going to populate that you see on Google. So don't get upset with me. I'm on y'all side. I try to be because I'm trying to get you to and from, okay?
Yeah. I mean, she's looking out for everybody all the time.
Yes.
And
Carly,
also on
just a
Mishi, I'm sorry, Nellie. I was going to piggyback on Mishi. Everyone, there is a travel number, travel phone number, and that is a number is available 24/7. Someone is always on call on the
Chatbot.
weekends, and so we have that. That is sent out to you if you ever have a question about your travel or anything and it's the weekend. That number, that's our own call, our 24-hour number. So I mean, don't call us at 20 in the middle of the night about an expense report, please. You may not, we may not have good customer service then, but if you're having a travel issue, please call. That's what we're here for.
Yes. Um,
I was
oh,
gonna ask Mishi to elaborate a little bit for the team. Just some situations that have happened, Mishi, if my flight gets canceled or for whatever reason I have to change my flight, I call the number, or maybe I don't call the number. Tell me what process, or tell the team what process they would follow at that point.
yes. So first, let me answer this question in the chat box. So any issues with the consultant paying for any upgrades? So all upgrades, any excess luggage fees, all of that is on the consultant. Carver does not cover any seat upgrades. If you cannot pick a seat, let them auto assign you a seat, because if you have to go in, I think United Airlines is the main one where you have to like pick a seat. Like I can't pick your seat. You have to go in and pick a seat. Let them auto assign you a seat so you do not have to pay for a seat because it is not reimbursed back to you. But you're more than welcome to upgrade at any time using your points, whether you pay out of pocket, but it's just not reimbursed back to you. And then Nellie's question. Um, so anytime that you need to make a change to your flight, the process is to call Carver. Always call Carver to change your flight. If you have any delays, call Carver. Call the number that I put, save this number that I put in the chat box, because I can work directly with Agencia to get you on whatever flight is next available. In some cases, to where I can't, then I'll loop your account manager in and let them know what's going on, and then they'll tell me next steps. Now, if you go outside and do it yourself and then you incur a charge, that charge is on you. I try not to get any charges incurred because we work with Agencia, so they take care of everything that I need them to, unless it's out of our control. Now, if you miss your flight, then at that point is out of my hand. The airline has taken control over that flight. So whenever you get to the ticket agent for whatever airline you're flying with will then have access over that flight and will then put you on the next flight available. I hope I answered that very well.
You did, thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
And for those of you who have not had this happen, yay for you. You're doing a good job. But for those of you who, for whatever reason, you missed a flight, etc., and then you turned it in on your expense report, if for some reason it doesn't get caught and later it is discussed, that expense will be deducted from the next future paycheck. So, if we discover, I get all the receipts from you guys and all the receipts from the flights and all the receipts from our corporate office here. So if something happens and we get charged for something, I immediately send Mishi an email and say, hey, we got this extra $110 charge for John Doe. Do you know anything about this? And Mishi will quickly respond with yes or no, and we are covering it or we are not covering it. And then she will be giving you a phone call. And she will tell me to deduct it from your next pay. So just keep in mind that if that happens, if you've contacted us to let us know for whatever reason and we can help you, that's your way to go. If for something happens, you miss a flight and whatnot, and it has to be between you and the airline at that point, just know all those charges on you. And if for some reason you decide to submit it, it will be deducted either from that at that moment before we pay out the expenses, or if for whatever reason we have occasionally missed it, we are all human. So if the hotel approved it and for whatever reason we find out later through Amex or something that it happened, it'll be deducted from the next future payment to you.
Perfect. Okay. Before we run out of time, I can't believe how fast it's going. I want to swing it for a moment to Nellie / maybe Kathy, and discuss about updating profiles. How often should we update profiles? What's the process for updating my profile, and how does keeping an up-to-date profile affect my work opportunities?
Carly, so I will let Joy go through
Oh, I
that.
can't even see Joy. Is
I
she
know,
in
I
here?
told her,
Uh,
I told her.
Hey, Joy. Welcome, Joy. A million hours ago.
She's
Hi,
hiding.
everyone. Come back.
Can y'all see me? Most of
Yes.
you, I met everyone. So, hey, everyone. So yes, let's talk about profiles. The best practice for profiles, when we start the assignment, you always get an email from me stating how we want the profile to be set up, as well as I always tell you how I would like the profile set up. For your profiles, because at the end of the day, this is how you get selected by the client. I need you to put your best professional picture. I need one with a plain background and a nice jacket, a nice shirt or blazer, whatever that you have. And a lot of times we just want to pick whatever we have in our repertoire of pictures, but we want something a lot more professional than that. So sometimes you may hear me ask for another profile picture because it's not up to our standards. As well as your job experience. I tell you all, when you do your job experience, put as much information in there because our clients like to see all the meaty info, the things that you did while you're on property. They're looking for a certain experience and they didn't tell us. They can see it in your resume. So all the information that you put in there and list each and every hotel or property that you have, or like a property management company that you have worked at so the client can see that. I know sometimes we like to put the property management company or the task force company, but I can't use that. So I might come back and ask you again, hey, what hotels did you work at? So the information, please fill out your job experience completely. I know we don't have the capability to merge the document yet, but please just copy and paste what you have on your resume into the job experience section. As far as when you complete an assignment, it's very important that you update your current assignments in your job experience section as well. The reason why I may have an opportunity and the client may need you within 48 hours, I need to get your profile to the account manager right away. Sometimes I have to go back in and then I have to update stuff. And I don't want to update stuff because I don't know what you did at that property. So it's very important that you always, after you complete assignment, enter that information in there. Now, my hopes is we have a system now that will automatically do that for you. But until then, please just update all your current your positions. Now, I'm sorry, your current assignments on your job experience. Now, lastly, as far as your profile, if I sometimes if I reject it or if it's just not right, I need you to answer me or if I contact you in a timely manner because the client at the end of the day is looking for someone to be on property right away because they're in need at that time. So if I'm contacting you and asking you for your profile or asking you to update information in there, please just do it as soon as possible. I know, we always have things that we're doing in life, but if I'm contacting you, most times I will send you out a text, say, hey, could you update your profile? I need it right then and there if you can. If not, just let me know, hey, I'm at the store, it's gonna be a minute, so I can just relay that to the account manager because if we are asking for your profile, that means we feel like you're the best person for that position.
I have a question,
Just,
please.
go ahead, Lisa Marie.
Uh, I don't know if it's just for my profile, but my profile picture that I've uploaded is not showing. Is there, it's just the way it is, or?
You won't see it on your end. I see it on my
Okay.
end. Yeah. So for most consultants, you just upload it. It's the picture that you put on there, but I see it on my end.
I
So,
think
but
I did
yeah.
it 20 times because I was like, okay, I know I'm putting it up there, but it doesn't show.
Yes. So yeah, they don't. Also, when you're using and updating the information in a system, it's best to use Google Chrome. Google Chrome is more compatible with our system than anything else. As well as you have to save constantly because a lot of times people tell me that they're having some issues. So make sure number one that you're using Google Chrome, and then also if you're saving constantly, so that way all the information can get it inside of your portal. And if for any reason, if you're having issues, send me an email or a snapshot so I can send it over to the team that can kind of figure that out what to do. It'll probably be Mishi, but yeah. Other than that, any more questions?
Dion has a question.
Dion, hi Dion.
Right there in the chat.
Yes, I definitely. If you haven't, if your photos are not acceptable, I will tell you that I will need another photo for you. And you probably look good and everything, but it's just something that that it's not acceptable for us.
So one of the key things I should add to the profiles coming from a BD side, when we receive a request from a client, we have an opportunity to now present a candidate for them. So we know you. We've had an opportunity to talk. We've had an opportunity to see each other, but the client only has the profile that we give them for them to decipher if you're the right person for their hotel. So if you send a profile and think of it in the line of being an independent contractor, you're your own boss, however you see it. If you don't have an LLC yet, get to it, but you're your own boss. You're not anybody's employee. So nobody's gonna come and say, hey, comb your hair. So when I take your profile and I get a call from Joe Smacatelli, and I send him your profile, the first thing he's looking at your picture. Does she have a smile? Oh, I don't know. This face looks like, will she really gel with the people? Because again, they haven't met you yet. They don't know you. So your profile is speaking for you. So if, for instance, you're like, you know what, it takes too much time for me to go ahead and put in everything that I know, I'm just going to put the bare necessities because I don't feel like typing. That's what the client gets. So Joy will tell you, I'm a stickler for that. She'll send me a profile and it has a one liner and I'll send it back to her. Because when I'm sending it to the client, I'm not really saying what you know. So add all the systems that you know, everything that you've done, everything that you can do, and take your professional picture and put it on the profile. Because if think about it, if it was your hotel and you were looking for someone to hire, would you then say, if you looked at your profile, would you say, you know what, 10 out of 10, this is the best person I have to pick? So that's one. The second piece is when we get a phone call, one of the things that we pride ourselves in as Carver is that we're able to fill a position in 72 hours. 24 is our goal, but we can do 72 if we really have to. So in 24 hours, if I'm telling my client, I got you. When I go in the system, I'm going to hit in the portal, and the first person who says, okay, Nelly, I'm ready, then I'm going to go and say, Joy, I need a profile for Kiana, for instance. And then I'm like, okay, wait, she last updated a profile in 2023. I'm moving on, and then I'm at Lisa Marie. So by the time you update your profile, Lisa Marie has been presented, she's been picked, she's gone. So we may talk about, who's updating your profile. I don't feel like updating my profile, but it's really important because that's the only thing that the client gets to see about you until they decide if they want to have a phone call. And then, of course, some of you have gone on assignment, never have to do an interview because the clients will trust that the person that we're giving them is the right person for the job. So update it. If you've done a little training course that's updating you on PEP, add PEP. Be proud of the things that you've accomplished on your own and just keep adding them to your profile because the last one we had was in 2021 and it doesn't have everything that you've done. And if you work for other with other task force companies, PHM or Transformation SSP, put the actual hotel name and not the company because the client is saying, okay, what is Transformation versus, oh, they have Holiday Inn or they have Hilton or Hampton, whatever. So just think about your profile as your selling tool. That's what sells you to the person who's requesting your services.
Nellie,
I want
thanks
to
so
piggyback.
much for. I was going to say, Nellie, thanks so much for saying that because I was just thinking of that. And, when we normally hear the thing, less is more, not in this business. More is better. The more information you have on that profile, the more job experience. I mean, I looked at one last week and I just closed it. I didn't even give that person time of day. And I will tell you why, because it had same as above, same as above. No, I want to know what you did, on these properties. So if it's same as above, then, if you don't have time to do your profile, then I'm not going to use you as a task force consultant. And yes, I am in accounting, but I do help out BD sometimes. Nellie can tell you I'm all over the place. So I do look at profiles and I email and I text and I call if I send you an SMS about a task force assignment. So that's what I try to make sure I do everything and cover the bases and let you know if it goes away or if they chose someone else. So
On that note, pro tip from me: if you find yourself repeating yourself in your profile or your resumes or however you're listing the things you've accomplished, use ChatGPT, use Gemini from Google, and just say rephrase this, say this in a different way, and then it doesn't look repetitive, it doesn't look copied and pasted, and make it approachable, and make it sound like you've accomplished things, not just you filled a void, you did a chore, be excited, brag on yourself. That's going to come through. It's just like Kathy said, smiling comes through on the phone. Pride in your work comes through on your resume and your profiles.
What Nelly
Um,
said. I know Carla had a yes, Carla. If you have an LLC in your legal name in your profile, you're gonna put your first, last name, doing business as, and then your LLC. And then I'll send over the necessary paper to update with all the information in there so we can put it all to Kathy
Joy,
said.
Joy. I think Carla may have profile confused with her. There's one thing on your ICA is your legal name, but we're talking about the profile we send to the client. We don't want her LLC on
Yeah.
that.
Oh, that's what she's asking? Okay, I
Yes.
can see it
I
all.
put your email in the chat box, Joy. I told
Okay.
her to send it over to you.
Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. I just want to ask, just tell everybody at the end of the day, like Nelly said, this is your business. I always recommend that everyone get an LLC, that you treat this as your business. You're not a regular employee when you're going on property right now. This is how you get more assignments by I don't like using the word selling yourself, but promoting your business. You're promoting your business at the end of the day. I can only do a piece of it, and then that's how. Let's go back, review your profile, and just say, hey, you can put a little bit more information in there. But at the end of the day, everything else is on you. It's your business. How would you promote your business? And I'm just saying, if you promoting your business in the right way, then you would get the assignments. If you're not, then you probably won't get the assignments.
Okay, at this point, we have about we have about 20 minutes left, but we'll probably cut short. And I know everybody's really busy, but I want to know: are there questions about travel, profiles, um, accounting, getting your compensation, taxes? We've addressed, but are there questions that we haven't addressed? If you want to put them in the chat box, now's the time. If you want to just turn on your mic and speak, go for it.
Hey guys,
Hey,
I just wanted to do a go back real quick. When you are submitting your invoices each week, if someone has asked you to work extra time, please try to get that in writing. Get in writing and send it to your BD rep. That way there is no question when it comes to making sure you get paid for that extra time. Because we've had that with some clients are very quick to approve it because they know they asked you and they don't give us any pushback. We have some questions or some clients that will say, well, we didn't approve that, and it'll be the manager, and then one person will say, well, the quote unquote this person or this supervisor asked me to do it. Now it's a he said, she said kind of thing. So please try to make sure you get everything in writing if they ask you to work extra time so that we can make sure that you get paid for everything that you've done there. That's the first thing. And then the other thing also kind of has to do with turning in your invoices. If you guys know that your property approver is going to be out of the office for an extended point of time, please let Rhea or I know. Email the AP box so that we can figure out who else can approve at your property if need be and send that to them so that we can try to get you your money back as soon as possible.
Or contact your BD manager.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes. And also I noticed something. It says, how far in advance should extra work days be requested? Well, if the client is asking you to work extra days, just ask them to shoot an email over to you and to your BD manager. If it is the last minute, let's say someone didn't come in and it's a last minute, please don't tell the client no. Call your BD manager. Please go ahead and work. We never want to leave our clients hanging. So if you can work, but we try to get it in advance, but we're also not telling you to tell the client, oh, I can only work this many days. Please don't do that. I mean, that's like me telling Darnell, oh, no, I can't work on that. It's time for me to have my afternoon coffee, even though sometimes I do tell him that. That's a joke.
We have two questions in the chat box. One is
And
from Bark. It says, I have often had to go in for half days. Will there be an option for half days? If somebody want to take that question.
Absolutely. So, Barrick, I refer back to the fact that we're independent contractors. So, in our world, a half a day, you don't bill the client by a day, I mean by hours or half a day. You bill the client by the day because that is what you work. So, if, for instance, your client is not understanding what that process is like, get with David so that he can explain to them what that means. I saw another question in the same line, so just let me explain it together. As an independent contractor, you're billing for your services by the day. The client has the ability to schedule you for up to 50 hours in a work week that consists of 5 days. Anything after that becomes an additional day. So if they call you down and they need you to work for 3 hours, that is a working day because you're not an hourly employee. You bill for your services by the day. Now, some clients won't understand that. So we have to be able to break it down for them so that they understand it beforehand. Meaning, if let's say, for instance, you're at the front office, everybody knows if you work the front office, somebody's coming late, somebody's calling out, something is about to happen. So if I'm a client, I probably will schedule you for 8 hours in my mind, keeping that extra time in case Liza is going to be late, then you work that extra 2 days. It becomes a little bit different, but we don't bill half days. A half day technically is a full pay day for you. So they will just be billed for a day. So maybe you and I'll ask David to call you and just sidebar so you can talk a little bit about what's been happening on your assignment, if that's okay. Can you put a note for David to call Eddie?
Hey, Raleek, I see you ask how often will assignments post to the portal? And then Brandy put any new opportunities available. So assignments will post to the portal as we get requests for them, as the clients have business. And right now, I don't think there's a lot in there. Nellie could answer that better than me. But I mean, just I suggest I tell everyone I would look at the portal in the mornings and in the evenings because sometimes things come in overnight and say mid-morning they're usually in by mid-morning, and then over late in the evening there may be something else in if there's been a request. So Nellie, do you want to piggyback on that one?
Absolutely. So, January through March, I would say all of you have been on the hotel, so this is not news to you. Normally, hotels are in planning season, trying to figure out what's happening, budget season. They just came off of what are we going to spend for the year? Is there going to be a recession? We have a new president. There's a lot happening in the country. So most of the times, the first part of the first quarter is normally a slow quarter. But on the flip side, when people reach out for task force, they send in a request. So you also know the BD team, we all sit together, we actually talk over each other's cubbies. So when you send an email that you're available to David, Nellie, Elgentine, all of us are seeing each other, we get it, we share amongst each other. But when we get a request and we put it in the portal, the people that see this request are the people who have service codes that are attached to this particular opportunity. Meaning, if you have worked a Hilton property only, and I have a Holiday Inn that only uses Opera, if your profile only tells me that you have PEP and you have OnQ, then you're not going to see Opera, or you're not going to see Lightspeed, you're not going to see anything that you don't have on your profile. So then the next part becomes, sometimes the client will ask for somebody they've worked with before. I would like Carlotta back because I liked working with her. Or you'll have some people who wake up in the morning and the first thing they do is go in the portal and attach themselves. At this point, the BD manager's like, oh, I worked with her the last time. Click, Varick, let's go. This is your opportunity, and it's done. So all that to say is Kathy is right. Take time to, and of course it is a lot of work, but go in the portal as often as you can. Look in and make sure that your systems that you know are listed, because that's the only way you'll see what's in the portal. And then truly, if you don't see it in the portal, then it's not there, it's not being hidden. Everything that we get goes through the portal. The clients also have a portal that they use to send in their requests. So really and truly, everything that we have is always in the portal. A little bit of a slower time. So this is why I always recommend to the team, just keep in touch with even the other task force companies that you've partnered with over the years, just to check and make sure, what are they doing? Is SSP, do they have something? Does anybody else have anything? That way, because again, this is your business. If you're not on assignment, you're not eating, make sure that you partner with other people so that you're rotating. Of course, don't forget about us, but be out there where if you find an opportunity, take it. Don't feel bad about it. And then, we stay in your emails. Like, we'll text you, email you, hey, are you available? And if you're not, we'll take care of it. And actually, that leads me to a question that I saw from Carly. about your calendars. So I know you all have access in your portals to your calendar where you can mark off when your
Not
birthday
anymore,
are.
Nellie.
It's gone?
It's gone. That we can see their calendar, we can go in and do it, but they can't. And I don't know why. We need to check on that. That's what I
I'll check
posted.
on
I
that.
sent in my email
I'll
because
I'll check on that.
I
Okay,
logged in
perfect.
as a consultant and there was no calendar to block out dates, but they can let us know until we get it fixed and we
Perfect.
can block dates for them.
Absolutely. So
So,
when you go on assignment, let us know. That way we don't continue to call you if you're not on assignment. Because of course, if your calendar is not blocked out, when we send out an SMS for a request, you'll keep getting alerts from us. And if you're on assignment, you don't want to get those alerts, that's fine. We wouldn't do that. So
I like it. So I love people when they text me and say, "Hey, Joy, I'm on an assignment until such and such or another." We have the capability to put in your availability, your next availability date. So if you know you're about to go on an assignment with another company, just shoot me over a quick text or an email. Just let me know what your next available date is, and we won't bother you until that time.
and also, if you let us know to block your calendar, if you're going on a vacation or something, then you won't pop up as available, so we can block your calendar. So that's why it's a good thing to have the calendar. And I also saw a question. Um, there was another question I had saw that I was gonna. Okay, I must have missed it. We must have covered it because now I can't find what I was looking at. So go ahead, y'all go ahead.
I want to go back up for a second because they wanted to know. I know we just talked about this a little bit, but there's several folks saying we cannot see assignments in the portal.
Let me explain that a little further. So the reason why you can't see the assignments, like Nelly said, it's based on your service position. If your service position, which is if you are a chef and we don't have any assignments available for a chef, it will not show up. If you're a front office manager, and if it is a front office manager role in there, and if you meet the criteria that Nelly spoke about, Hilton or if you have M3, then yes, it's going to show up. It's going to show up. But if the client is not requesting something under your discipline and the necessary requirements that they're looking for, it will not show up on your portal.
Harley, we
Yes.
seem to have quite a few questions in the chat. So I don't know what we've missed and what we haven't. If you don't mind just scanning through to
No, I
check.
did. I've scanned. I think we're caught up at this point, except
Yes, we're
for
caught up, except for
right
Okay,
now.
Brandy's.
And
Samuel, how do you get into the portal? If you go to your job, into your portal, at the end, it's going to say open assignments. That's where you're going to see all the job positions posted under open assignments.
So I
And
think with
also, if you will look at your ICA, your independent consultant agreement, a lot of consultants just sign that and they do not go to the very last page. On the very last page of your ICA is where your service positions are listed. Look at those. If you do not see all of the service positions that you think you are qualified for, you talk to Joy so she can make sure that you have all of the service positions, because if you don't, if that service position is not on your ICA and listed in our system, you're not going to be able to see those positions. So maybe that might answer some of the questions. So, check your ICA. You sign one of those once a year at least, sometimes more if we add service positions, right, Joy? So that's a big thing, is seeing what service positions you have. Justin, I saw your questions about you haven't seen things and all managers have went out. I don't recall who it could possibly be because we have actually been very slow, and it could have been someone who went out was asked for specifically. We can't, there's no way to tell you exactly why your name didn't come up. It could have been a property that you didn't have that brand or that system. So, it's kind of sometimes we can't tell you why it didn't come up. We have
Two
no
things.
idea.
I
Two,
like
two,
I said, we have a lot of clients that have
mm-hmm.
worked with some of you that have requested you back. So if I get an opportunity and Lisa Marie was their person, they'll ask for Lisa Marie. But the key things that I'm going to ask each and every one of you to do is go back and view your ICA. At the bottom of your ICA, look at the service codes that you have. Meaning, if you have a service code for, let's say, for instance, a front office manager, and you have a front office manager too. That means that you're only going to receive or see front office manager positions for full service properties. The three is the luxury, the one is the select service. So if in your mind you're saying, well, I could be a one, and you don't have a FOM1, you're not going to see what comes up. This also ties in with your ask of pay. So let's say, for instance, in your mind, you're like, oh, I just want to make $2,000. Probably a select service may not be your option for what you want to list on your service codes, but it really just ties into the fact that when we do, I mean, we put things and I see them, of course, because I'm on this side, and I'll see them in the system, but literally we have been getting a lot of clients that will ask, like I just received a call and they're asking for Danny. Well, Danny's on vacation, so now I'm about to put in for a front office manager, not a front office manager, a food and beverage manager, and we're gonna have to start a search because the person that they want is not available. So it happens a lot, and then of course it's gonna open up. But check your profiles, check your updates, check your ICA so that you know exactly what you're going to see. If you're limited to only like light speed, and of course that's all you like. I was a light speed girl, so I can do everything light speed. Put me at a Hilton property, I don't know what to do there. If I'm a consultant, I'll never see a Hilton assignment. So it's the same for everyone. If you don't have that particular hotel, those particular that particular experience, then absolutely you're not going to see it. And the other person who may have what we're looking for will get the assignment. So I guess when you're comparing each other, make sure that you go through, what do you know that I don't know? Because you could be comparing with someone who has the brand that we were looking for, that they got the assignment versus someone who didn't. Because some people have FSPMS, some people don't even know what that is. So it just really depends on what you have and what's coming in and what the client is looking for at this particular moment.
Samuel, I see that you said you can't log into the app. I went and checked. I sent Joy an email so she can check on this for you because it looks like you're not enabled. So Joy will work with you on that. So that's why you cannot log in.
Okay. Did we see the question about the tiers? How do we know if we're one
Yes,
or two? Okay.
I answered Jamil.
Okay, great.
Hmm.
And then new to Carver, am I looking at the right thing? On the last page of my ICA has approved positions question mark.
At the bottom of your ICA, it will show the discipline of what you're in. But if you're new, then you may have not received an ICA just yet.
Tamika, let me go back and review your ICA. I think she is. I don't have my computer on me. I'm sorry. Kathy, can you look Tamika Jackson up, please? Let me
Looking
know.
right now.
Thank
Guys,
you.
we're in our last few minutes. This call will cut off at 3:30. It's at 3:21 on my clock. This is such great interaction, and I'm really appreciative of everybody's participation.
Leslie has his
I
hand up.
You have a hand up, Carly.
okay.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So just a quick question. When I go on, this is Justin, by the way. When I go under my profile on the app and I look at the systems, I've always had this problem. Every time I select PEP, which I know is the newest Hilton system, and I know that there often is a need for people with PEP. So I want to stand out with that, and every time I add it, it keeps going back into the left box, so it doesn't go into the selected. Oh, you know what? Never mind. I read it wrong. Disregard.
Okay, so you're good now. I think I think you put Pep on there. If not, I selected it for you, so I think you're fine.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Justin, you are right. Your PEP, people that know PEP are a hot commodity right now. A lot of properties are switching. So if you have the opportunity to find yourself at a PEP property, absolutely go for it.
And I'm a
Brandy, I
beast and
have
available.
Brandy, I have all your service positions on yours. If you go back and check again, I do believe we have all your service position on there. It's the at the end, we can submit your profile over to the client. Is this the best? It's best practice, like Nelly said before, to make sure you have all the information in your profile, and it's basically based upon the selection of the client. So if the client doesn't select you, then someone will let you know. So that's why we always say market yourself as this is your own business so you can get the job. Yes, please reach out to me, Malik, for a review.
Jamil said what determines the tiers. Tier 1 is select and limited service, right, Nellie?
Yeah,
Tier
so your
2 is
tiers are
full service.
basically, sorry, Kathy, I know Carly said we're out of time, but the tiers are determined based on your previous experience. So like Kathy was saying, the tier one is our select limited service, tier two is our full service, and tier three is our full service brands. So if you've already worked these properties is what determines, because it's in your history. So like, let's say for instance, if you say you're a front office manager tier three, I want to know which resort, which luxury hotel you worked. So the tiers are based on your previous experience that is added to your profile.
And please note the client is looking for someone with 3 years or more experience on there. So if they see something that's on your profile, well, they know we are a task force company. So most times they will see if you're task force, you have a history. But say for instance, you're new and you're just coming into the task force, the client's looking for your profile to have at least 3 years experience in that position. So make sure you have that experience. A lot of times you're probably not selected because of the inexperience that you have, and they found someone more qualified. So just make sure that you have all the information in your profile as needed. Yeah, she has.
Okay, Eugene has his hand raised. We're gonna let you ask your question.
Yeah. Hey there. Question for you. So, a couple of things I've encountered. I think I've talked a little bit with Mishi and I think Miss Kathy a little bit ago, but just kind of an SOP or when it comes to travel within companies that don't use Agencia, I think I've had a challenge between signing contracts and getting the turnaround for travel, which can be only a few days. And is there a general guideline? I know the standard for Carver is to be reached out to in regards to travel. However, being that it is a third party or a separate agency for booking, I've had to reach out each time. Is there a way to, on my end, that I can build, a calendar alert to say, hey, I need to reach out to Carver, or should I expect a follow up from Carver itself directly?
So I will answer that. So Eugene is on an assignment with Remington. So this right now we only have the Remington Hotel Group that does their own travel. So what happens is once Eugene, and I'm of course using your name because you're there, once Eugene receives his extension request, he will then respond, and then it goes to the client, then it goes to legal, then I can book a flight for Eugene. So it does take a longer process. So right now, Eugene, my resolve is we're trying to change how quick a turnaround can be from our end to sending your extension. But of course, it's not possible to just do a certain PMG, if I may. So for right now, my ask is that as soon as you get your email, which is on Friday, before your last week, respond so that I can start the process of knowing whether you're extending. Then it goes to Bill. Then Bill says yes. Then it goes to Andrew, who sends it to legal. And then once legal get it back to me, then I send it to their travel agency. So there is a process whenever you're traveling with a company that does their own travel, but I am trying to work through what that can look like. So the sooner I can get the information that you're extending, the sooner I can start the process. So I'm trying to see if I can actually do Remington outside of our normal Friday before the last day to where we can push it back to even 2 weeks. If you know in advance that you're extending, that way it allows them to process what they need to do. And then once I finalize that, I will send it to Mishi. And of course, like you said, you worked with Kathy before, Ria and Jennifer also cover, they do travel when Mishi's out. So I will definitely create an SOP so everybody is aware of how it's processed whenever Mishi's out.
Awesome sauce. Thank you.
Mhm. And go Omaha. They told me that you're awesome out there.
I try. I try.
You look very nice and professional,
Oh,
Eugene. It was
dapper.
nice to see your face. And I saw Carla, I see you sent something directly to Joy. Please email her because she may not have seen that in the chat. So please email Joy directly to get help.
Yeah, that's good advice. Okay, I want to thank everybody so much for being here. This has been super helpful and productive. We again will host these every quarter, so our next one should be in April. Look for that invitation. And also, if you're in contact with other Carver consultants and they are missing these opportunities, please do feel free to share the link with them so they can sign up too. I do want to draw your attention before we cut off. Back up to our social media if you're not following us, especially if you're new, and also where I wrote join these groups. That is a community. Those are private groups that people have to be admitted to. If you have questions like these after today, a lot of you have been in the business so long, you have the answer before Carver can even get to that person, and you can mentor and mentee in those groups. So definitely join those, and if you have any interest in helping me as a influencer and things like that, again, I'll
I'm
put
on a
my
call.
email.
Pastor, who's this?
I will put my email in the chat box, and you can reach out to me that way, and you can go ahead and link your profiles if that's something that's interesting to you. So thanks again for being here. Anything else from the Carver folks?
Thank all of you for being here today. It would have be great if we could see all of your smiling faces. So
yeah, maybe next time we'll all do cameras. We certainly will if Charlie's on. I'll tell you that.
I just talked to Lisa Marie last week, I think, and I talked to Eugene last week, and I think I talked to you, didn't I, Timothy? So yeah, it's funny when you get to see who you have talked to. So thank you all.
Yes.
Carla will
Thank
pass
you.
on your message to Jennifer.
It was nice seeing everyone again.
We'll see you in April, if not before.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.